All right, this is our next unit. This is our Causes of the Revolution notes. We are going to do Causes of the Revolution. This time we'll have some notes on the actual battles and events of the revolution. And then finally we'll finish up with our information on major leaders during the revolution. So today we're going to focus in on what caused the Texas Revolution to happen. As always, make sure you write down all of the information that we see today. So first part, we have our Constitution of 1824. This was on our last test, and this is the information that we have for it. Remember that it restricted slavery, so it's basically told settlers coming in from America they could not bring slaves. It's going to create a representative government where people get to vote and have a say in the government, and it's going to allow ownership of private property. So that means that people could own their property. Remember, the impresarios are going to come in and they're going to get the land for very, 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 very cheap. And then Catholicism was named the official religion of Mexico. So this was all the information that we needed to remember from our previous unit on Mexico gaining their independence and information about the Mexican Constitution of 1824. Now, the next part that we have is our Freedomian Rebellion. Now, the Freedomian Rebellion happened in 1826 in the city of Nacogdoches, again, back to East Texas and Nacogdoches. And a group of Texans formed the Freedomian Republic led by the Edwards brothers. They claimed the area was no longer under Mexican control, and Stephen F. Austin had to step in. He has a lot of pull and a lot of say with the government, and he chose to side with the Mexican government and helped march to Nacogdoches to help stop the rebellion. It ended pretty quickly. The Freedomian, this is the Freedomian flag down here. It said independence, freedom, and justice at the top on a white block, and then a red block. Sorry, the black and white copy came out. But Nacogdoches is always going to be a hotbed because they're just so far away from Mexico that it's easy for them to kind of start problems, and it's going to take so long for the government to react. So the Freedomian government started up, it failed, but it was shown that they were moving closer and closer to Texans wanting their independence. The next one is the Mier y Tierran investigation. In 1828, the Mexican government sent General Manuel Mier y Tierran to investigate conditions in northern Texas. He found that the Anglo-Americans outnumbered Mexicans 10-1. So it's kind of going through and looking, and the Anglos, the white settlers coming in from America, are outnumbering the Mexican settlers that are already in Texas 10-1. So it's showing that they're losing power, losing control. And what his report does is it results in this law of April 6 that we're going to talk about now. So this general wrote the report, and then we have this information here, the law of April 6, 1830. From the report of Mier y Tierran, to report on the immigrants moving into Texas. He reported concerns about the Anglo-Americans, resulted in this law which outlawed immigration from U.S. to Texas and canceled all impresarial grants that have not been fulfilled. So basically, it stopped all Americans from coming over. They could no longer come into the territory. They had to stop. Also, any impresarios that had not fulfilled their contract, it canceled that whole contract, and everybody lost everything that they signed up for, including the land. It did encourage European immigration, especially from Spain and Ireland, Germany, those areas, but it wanted to stop the people coming in from America. Slaves could no longer be brought into America to work, so it ended slavery outright. And customs and applied customs duties or taxes that were imposed on all goods entering Texas from the United States. So it showed that there's a shift in the relationship between Texas and from Mexico. Basically, it ended that whole cordial relationship that was going on and showed that it was very different time. The next to last thing that we have is the Turtle Bayou resolutions. In Anahuac, which is down in South Texas along the Gulf Coast, settlers gathered at Turtle Bayou following the uprising in Anahuac. John Austin was sent to retrieve a cannon to be brought back from Brazoria and drafted resolutions pledging continued loyalty to Mexico under the Constitution of 1824. Santa Anna, who later leads the Mexican army in the battle for independence with Texas, seemed to support the Constitution of 1824. This event resulted in Colonel Jose de las Piedras ordering the release of William B. Travis and Patrick Jack from jail. They had led the uprisings in Anahuac, and this was kind of their first times being in the news. And as this happened, we're going to have a lot of people being dismissed from the army. They're going to be restructuring to stop the Anglo influence everywhere. But we need to remember that it's going to support the Constitution of 1824, and major people like William B. Travis are going to be released from jail from their actions in Anahuac. And then finally, the last one, and I know a little bit chronologically that it's out of order, but the last thing that we have is the arrest of Stephen F. Austin. Austin's going to travel to Mexico to meet with Mexican officials and deliver the resolution written by Texas officials about their concerns. They were complaining about the situation that was going on. When he arrived, Santa Anna had just become leader of Mexico, but so much time had gone by that Austin sent a letter back to Texas to tell Texas officials to establish a state government. Basically, they weren't listening to us in Texas, so we might as well set up our own government and run it that way. Austin has a meeting with Santa Anna, and he agrees to many of the grievances or problems. He's saying, I see the problems, and we'll work on adjusting them together. Austin returns home thinking, all right, I accomplished a great thing, and all of a sudden, he's arrested for treason, which is usually punishable by death, because of the letter he had wrote to Texas officials earlier. He was not allowed to return to Texas until 1835, so he was held in Mexican jail until the end of that time period. So what I need you to do is, once you finish writing down everything in our notes, I want you to go through and on the back of our DSQ notes, write your I learned statements, okay? So let's get all that taken care of.